Demonstrators bent on damage rather than peaceful protest rocked Madison again last week. They toppled statues, broke windows at the Capitol, and a couple of them beat up Democratic State Senator Tim Carpenter, who was taking video. There were other acts of violence. A young biracial woman says 4 men called her a racially charged name, sprayed her with lighter fluid, and lit it, burning her. Now, police say someone beat up a man and robbed him after he inadvertently turned his car onto a block with demonstrators. Most of the protests calling for change after the death of George Floyd were peaceful, but earlier this month, a few people broke off to riot and loot along Madison's iconic State Street. Matt Smith reports that some of those damaged businesses will not reopen.
No one has potentially been hit harder than small business owners along State Street in Madison. A 1-2 economic punch capped off by days of looting and vandalism following protests over the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis.
With a gas line, cover, and sharp, and these are each like 20, 30 pounds, and found both of these just like strewn on the floor when we came in. It's like, and I know they had crowbars too.
Brennan Sheedy says he lost 90% of his inventory and isn't the only owner where glass pieces and plywood replaced the windows, with new ones still waiting to arrive.
A book or like how to combat looting in a pandemic for dummies. There's not a book about that, so it's been pretty hard.
Mayar Maktabi slept inside his restaurant for nearly a week, and on the third night,
glass is out. Glass is out.
The looters arrived as he broadcast on Facebook Live.
To me, that's how I was all grown up. If you want to own business, you have to protect it. And that's a dream. If I couldn't protect it by myself, no one's going to protect it for me.
For others, the dream has ended. 30 of State Street's 152 businesses have told the region's business improvement district they won't reopen. 10 more are on the fringe. Tiffany Kenny is in charge of helping keep the rest alive.
There's a lot of unease. There's a lot of unknown. What comes next? And that's probably the hardest part for our businesses. They've already gone through 10 to 12 weeks of being closed as it related to the COVID pandemic. Now they're trying to figure out what happens next for them.
The Boys and Girls Club recently helped raise $150,000, but it won't be enough.
Let me say, it's not very much money when you have 152 businesses. So we made it easy for them to apply. They tell us what happened, they say what they need, and we're going to try to get them what we can.
That money is desperately needed and expected to be distributed in July.
And you're taking boards down, I see?
Just so we can have people come in the door.
Even now, business owners say the newest foot traffic is mainly for the art. 60 murals from 100 plus artists commissioned by the city that will eventually be kept intact, moved, and archived.
More people walk right here than anywhere else in the whole state. So it's important to all of us.
Will it recover?
It will recover.
Will it be different?
It will be different.
A tough time on State Street there. So how does the community recover from this and move forward? We're asking a community leader. Michael Johnson is the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Dane County. We know that you're really a voice in the community, so we appreciate you doing this interview. What do you think it will take to diffuse what is obviously a highly charged situation in Madison right now?
Yeah, I think people got to get in the boardroom and talk through some of the racial disparities that we see throughout the state. Wisconsin is great in so many ways, but when you look at, data regarding racial disparities and knowing that we have the largest academic achievement gap in the country and that African Americans, these are issues that we've been talking about for decades. And I think we just have to put together a systemic plan, align some financial priorities around those plans, get in the boardroom and solve some of these issues.
So the night that people tore down statues, attacked a few people, tried to get in the Capitol, I know there's some chatter on social media that the mayor has not been really present. She said she does not want to micromanage police. What do you think of the response from her?
Yeah, so, I've been talking to the mayor, on a regular basis, and she's a new mayor in our city, and I do believe that she does care. But at the same time, I think that, we have to be visible. We have to make sure that we show empathy and support, but at the same time, we can't allow people to, burn down buildings, to break down businesses, to cause bodily harm, to individuals in our community. And that goes for both Black and white folks. And so I think that it's a step backwards when some of these activities occur in our community, but I also understand why people are fed up and why people are angry. And all of us have to do a better job making sure that we address the systemic issues that's happening in our state, or these issues will not go away.
You work with so many young people in terms of your position at the Boys and Girls Club. What are you hearing from young people about what's going on right now?
They're tired of talking. They're tired of the talk. They want to see action. They want to see, investments, made in their lives. We've had series of town hall meetings when Ahmaud Arbery was killed in Brunswick. I brought Ahmaud's mother to Wisconsin via a town hall meeting with his sister, with young people from Brunswick and young people from Wisconsin. And what we heard from them is, they want to be employed. They want to be working. They want internships. They want programs that's going to fund ideas that they have. And they want us to solve these issues, and they want to be at the table. And I think we have to listen to our young people, respect their ideas, and also invest in things that are important to them. And
you're also working with the young woman who was recently attacked.
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate that, somebody would pour lightning fluid on her face, set her on fire. Where's the humanity? Our country is so divided, right now, that I hope that they apprehend these individuals. I was on the phone with Thea last night and talked to her mother this morning, and she's devastated by what happened to her. But she's also strong. She's also resilient. And yesterday she told me, she said, I am not going to harbor any hate in my heart, and I hope that these men change their lives around. And this is coming from an 18-year-old that a hate crime occurred, to her. So she's doing better, but I think she's going to have some challenging days ahead.
An amazing outlook considering what's happened to her. I want to move on to the op-ed piece that you wrote. You had 10 suggestions as to where we go from here. And one of those suggestions was to repurpose 10% of the police budget to community policing and mental health. Why do you think that's key?
Yeah, there's this whole debate around, to fund the police. I think just like in any sector, there are professionals who do great work in our society, and there are people who shine a negative light on whether it's be police officers or nonprofit leaders. So I do think that there are community policing strategies that we need to implement and execute on, not only in Madison, but across the state. And when you look at community policing, how do you engage the police in that process? Do every police officer in every municipality need to respond to every call? And how do you make sure that there's a balance and to ensure that communities of color are not over police? So what I'm recommending is not necessarily pulling resources from them, but reallocating those resources.
Well, this is a conversation going on across the country right now. So Michael Johnson, we appreciate your time today.
Hey, thank you for having me.
The U.S. House has passed a far-reaching policing overhaul stemming from George Floyd's death, but chances of the Justice in Policing Act becoming law appear dim. The president says he'll veto it. You can catch the latest on the D.C. Wrap blog written by our editorial partner, WisPolitics.com. Next, an unconventional convention. How will Democrats create excitement with a virtual national convention?